Yeah, you already got people. You already got people hollering at you, man. What's the goat, Black Viking Brewing.
Hey, that's
Uh,
my boy, man. Hey, this for you, son.
uh,
Hey, man, I absolutely love that dude, man. That dude is man. I'm talking about, bro. We are kindred spirits, bro. That is my guy, bro. I love that dude's energy, man. I love his passion, and I love his ability to capture a story, man. He understands the value of a story, bro. And everybody know, stories, facts tell, but stories sell, man. And he knows he has a great story, bro. And this dude is absolutely he's the consummate beer lover, man. And it's just a pleasure to know this brother, you know, and to be in the same to work in the same space with a kindred spirit like that, man.
that's
It's
what's
having a
up.
lot. I get jacked up every time. I can't even look at it for too long. I get to laugh and I get excited.
Well, I like that. Well, if y'all, I see
That's my
y'all,
guy,
y'all see
man.
y'all, I see y'all coming in. So as you come in, as always, please press that like button, follow and share. We about to get it popping. You know what I'm saying? Like I told y'all before, like if y'all noticed, y'all been watching this. I told y'all
Hey,
the
hold on a second. Hold on, man. Hold on. I got
all right,
people calling me. Hold on a second. Hey,
all right.
can you got your number? You got your number? You don't.
See, you see this?
Hold
That's
on a
the
second.
type of people. Go ahead. Well, I'm gonna just go
Famo.
talk to him. Hmm?
Hey, Famo. You say what?
Oh, okay. In the
Okay, yeah.
meantime, we're
Okay,
going.
yeah. I got
We
it.
going.
I'm doing a quick podcast with Soul Brothers right quick. So I, I'm log in though.
You
Okay,
see,
say no more.
you
We
see
got it.
this
All right,
these joke. See that's
all
Soul
right.
Brothers. They always got calls coming in. You know, for that big time company, man. So you
Hey
know,
man.
that's that's the way they rolling.
Hey, you got Amara. That's my boy. And then hey,
uh,
I see you, Amun. Now that's my guy. My guy. That's my other
you are.
galactic brother. My other
Oh, you know what?
galactic
Hey, look. Hey, look.
natural.
Hey, sorry. I mean, look. Your phone might be on mute. See if your phone is on mute because they said they can't hear you. Yeah,
Word.
turn it.
You know
Yeah, put
why?
it just. Yeah.
Cause when that phone ring, I'm gonna have to log out and come back on.
Well, you on here now? You with us?
Yeah, I know, but can they hear me still? Can anybody hear me?
Let's see. Oh, he said they say you're good now. You good?
I'm good now. Yeah, cause it
Okay.
take a
Yeah.
minute,
Yeah.
like when the phone rings. That's why.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
And I don't know how to mute this thing to not accept call. I figured out later on, man. But let's go.
No, no. Yeah, you good, man.
I
You
operate
good.
good on the fly, boy. I'm a master at that, boy.
Yeah, yeah.
But
So
now I want to
like
give it
I
up
was
to my
saying.
homeboy Amun,
Oh, go
man.
ahead.
Yeah,
Oh,
I see it, man. I'm sorry, brother. I want to give it up to my homeboy Amun. I see you, boy. Yo, one of the illest
hey,
MCs you ever want to meet, boy. I'm trying to tell you,
he
man. That's
finna be
my
he finna
guy.
be in he finna be in the podcast. I think next week.
Oh yeah.
Yep, sure is. Ain't that right, I'm
Oh
on.
man, that's my dude, man. That's my guy, bro. We went to the same college. We went to Clark together. We didn't even know each other then, man, but we met,
Yeah.
studying with Pop, man. You know what I
Look,
mean? Yeah,
look.
so Pop brought us
Look.
together, bro. We've been brothers ever since, man. So man, it's
Amaran
just
hit me up. He hit me up on the. I hit him up because I told him to come on back in February, right? And then I just recently, because I got a new phone, I got a number. I called him. You know what I'm saying? I was like, man, come on the podcast. He's like, yo, he's like, I forgot you were Polka Dot Rabbit podcast. I've been watching you the whole time. I was like, I was like, come on, bro, come on, man. We gotta get you on.
that's dope, man. We
But
all doing our own thing, man. I
yeah,
appreciate you
man.
giving us this platform,
Yeah.
bro.
Look at these look at these we Doc would be proud of us right now, man. All us out here doing our thing, you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Doing our own thing, you know what I'm saying? Spreading the love everywhere, man. Hey man, that's where we all came from, man. You know what I'm saying? That's where we
Yep.
all met. You know, if it
We
weren't
came
for
from that
Dr.
school.
York,
Yep.
yes, that if it weren't for Dr. York, we I'm and Ron was on the pure energy thing. You were doing the what was that thing? The
The All Eyes on
All
Egypt.
Eyes on Egypt. And you know what I'm saying? I remember I
Yeah.
was on there like the first. I remember the pilot episode,
Yep.
like the first or second episode. I
Oh,
was
I
on that
forgot
joint.
about that. Oh snap! I
Yeah.
forgot about that. Yeah, so let these people know, man. I've been on this wave, man. I've been on this wave. So
Mm-hmm.
when y'all see me throwing up signs and stuff like that, man, I've been on this wave, bro. This ain't
Mm-hmm.
nothing
Ain't no new.
fugazi. This ain't
Ain't
nothing
nothing
new, and
new,
this ain't
man.
nothing fugazi, man. People got to
Yeah.
understand that the Brewing Lodge is one of the oldest lodges in the world, bro. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't even know about it.
Mm-hmm.
So what we doing is resurrecting something the earth they ain't even seen before, bro. Not in this millennium.
That's
You
the
know what I
truth.
mean? So we bring you something new, but
Mm-hmm.
old, but new.
Yeah. And we were all there. All that stuff that, yeah, especially the younger cats. You know, when Tamaray was there, when the pyramids erected, and the Savior's Day, we were all there. We were all there
Mm-hmm.
chilling. You know what I'm saying? You know, we were all there
Yeah,
chilling, man.
making history, bro.
Making his. That's where we all met. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mm-hmm.
well, you know, y'all went to school, but we all came together there. But um, so let me move forward a little bit. As I said, y'all on the Polka Dot Rabbit podcast, all of the people have been, you know, like I said before, I'm a diverse individual. And, you know, if you know me, if you don't, you'll learn. And my subject matter and my people are going to be diverse. First thing, I have to say the Polka Dot Rabbit podcast is here to uplift humanity and spread information. But in addition, specifically, it's here to help reawaken the melanated zombies, woolly head zombies that are walking around that are finally starting to wake up from their sleep. So we always have to get that information to the people. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we're here for. Um, if you haven't already, please go to polka.rabbitpodcast.com, pick up my book, Bicultural Living and Leaving the World of Illusions. You know what I'm saying? Good read. You can definitely, if you ever wondering why I talk the way I do in the different subject matter, read the book. It goes way more in depth into that. Um, like I said, please follow the good brother here. Um, it was an what is it? ATL. Is
No,
that you,
no,
right? Oh,
Soul Bros Brewing.
okay.
Soul Brothers Brewing, but SOULBROS Brewing. Soul Bros
Okay.
Brewing. You
Okay.
can follow us
Okay.
on IG, Facebook, and TikTok. Soul
Okay.
Bro Crypto
Please.
on TikTok.
Yeah, please follow him. Please follow the Polka Dot Rabbit podcast. Like this and share it. You know what I'm saying? And also follow, subscribe on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? Everywhere else, you know, get this information out. That's it for me. Please, Corey, please
Oh,
tell the people. Yeah, go ahead and tell the people who you are, what you do, et cetera, et cetera.
I'm Corey Hinton, 1/3 owner of Soul Brothers Brewing Company. Of course, I am the front man and the orchestrator of it. So this is my brainchild, but I couldn't do it. I couldn't get this thing accomplished or without my two business partners, and that's Q Metro and Marty, Mr. Heady Lots T-shirts. You know, so these are two of my closest friends, bro, who are also priests as well, because we don't we're not shy about what our goal is and what our purpose is in the craft beer space, right? So we tout ourselves as the craft beer priest because we understand that all fermented beverages on the planet throughout whatever culture came through some type of priesthood.
Hmm.
All right. And so we understand that and dealing with the history part of it, every time beer is introduced to a new culture, it comes through the form of a priesthood. So now here we are millennials later, long after the monastery priesthoods have been set up and long after our original ancestors set them up. Here we are again where it is being introduced, or I should say reintroduced to African Americans, for lack of better words, for the first time in modern history, And so, having said that, it is our purpose to preserve the rites and the rituals that our ancestors laid down long ago in terms of brewing and the process and how we approach the craft. Because we approach the craft from the right side of the brain as opposed to why we respect the linear side or the left side of the brain. Because
Hmm.
brewing requires that you have an even balance of both sides of the brain because you're dealing with, a lot of the abstract when you're talking about flavors and taste and, what I'm saying, and color perception and things of that nature. But you also deal with the linear when you're talking about temperatures and dealing with the
Hmm.
science of it. You know what I mean? And so,
Hmm.
and so you have to respect both of those parts in order to make great beer.
Alchemist, a chemist, alchemist,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
That's what we're doing. Because we're taking
All
raw
right.
materials and turning it into a
Mm-hmm.
liquid. You know what I mean?
Gotcha, gotcha.
Yep.
Now, first question for you. How did you how did you get into your consciousness? You know what I'm saying? What introduced you to become from like where did you come from? Previously before you came conscious, and what did that journey take you? How did that journey work for you? How did it go for you?
Well, I was born. I got my pop is a priest,
Okay.
so by genetic makeup, not by being ordained or going through some college and saying, okay, I'm a pastor. No, no, no.
Hmm.
My dad. The reason why I say that because I was born into this consciousness community, if you will, or thought patterns because of how my dad raised me. My dad was an ex drug dealer back in the day. Always was a reader. And once he gave it all up in the '80s. But long story short, he used to when we get on punishment, he used to give us these books to write out of. And they would be heavy material. I'm 5 and 6 years old, so when we got in punishment, we just didn't go to the room, and play with our toys while we couldn't come out the room. No, we had to actually write. You know what I mean? So but he didn't give us Dr. Seuss books to write out of. I'm talking about heavy stuff, man.
Hmm.
I'm looking at words, transcendental meditations. You know what I'm saying? The subconscious mind. I'm writing this stuff down as a 6 and 7 year old toddler.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So dealing with heavy information like that, man. And of course, he made us. We used to write out the Bible and stuff like that. So I didn't know that those seeds of spirituality were being planted. And he wasn't a religious guy because he was just like, well, you find your own way. You
Mm.
know, he said, I'm telling you this what I'm doing. He's a stout biblical person, right? You
Hmm.
know what I mean? But he never questioned me, questioning him about religion. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? And in fact, he had such an open mind about it that he decided to raise us outside of the typical Christian church. So his whole
Mm.
view on the scriptures was already come from a broader perspective. And so they kept me with the open mind as well. You know what I mean? So I
Hmm.
like to say that I was born in it, but studying with Pop, what I'm saying, with Dr. York, that really helped me open things up. And I know people, kind of saying to mention his name because of the scandal with the kids and all that stuff like that, man. But the doctrine was true and he's right and exact because I came out of that school. You came out of that school. Amara came out of that school. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? So we
Still in
we
it.
we, we were taught well. We were taught well by the best. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So so man, moving on up, man. I just decided just to make sure that I keep an open mind. I read a lot. I read a lot of different things, and I try to just to, you know, live from a supreme consciousness state of knowing who and what I am. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And I live my life accordingly. And so
Hmm.
just, that's how I pretty much came into it, man. And so now our job is to take that same energy and help, like you say, awaken as many people as we possibly can.
Hmm.
Starting with our people first, right?
Hmm.
Because we always got to have a disclaimer about wanting to do something specific for our people. And there's
Hmm.
nothing wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? But we're
Hmm.
not doing it at the expense of our fellow man. No, that's not what it
Yeah.
is. And that's the ultimate difference. I mean, just because you're pro-black don't mean that you're anti anything.
Yeah.
That means that I
People
have
got to
a
understand that. Yeah.
right. They have to understand that, right? But we're
Yeah.
made to feel like we can't take that kind of position
Hmm.
or have that kind of posture when dealing with other races,
Yeah.
right?
It's like dealing with like even like dealing with when you say black power, you know what I'm saying? And like it's completely different than when you hear somebody saying white power because you're dealing with like white supremacy. Black power, that has nothing to do with hate at all. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? That's about,
Right.
it's about we always do things differently. You know what I'm saying? And that's a prime
Mm-hmm.
example of misconceptions, you know
Okay.
what I'm saying? As far as being like you say, being pro black and being anti whatever anything else. One of my things is, and I'm happy you said that because I like to look at your. I was looking at some of your posts and stuff, and you're around a wide variety of people. You know what I mean, of all different races, genders, whatever the case may be. And one thing people have to understand is that once you get to a certain place of elevation in your mind, you know what I'm saying, you see people for who they are. You know what I'm saying? And it's beyond race. You know what I'm saying? People, anybody with that type of mindset, it's a low vibrational, like almost a subhuman mindset, than to look at just somebody just because they're a different color and be like, oh, whatever the case may be. We're beyond that.
Right,
You know what I'm
exactly.
saying?
You
Way
know,
beyond
because
that. That's a waste of time. you
yeah, it
know.
is a waste of time. And,
Hmm.
and a lot of time people not, and that comes with us having a certain level of confidence and a certain
Yeah,
level of awareness of,
exactly.
again, back to knowing who we are, and we deal with
Hmm.
people from that
Exactly.
premise, right? So
Hmm.
I have no reason to be intimidated with you, by you,
Hmm.
no matter what your lot is in life,
Hmm.
and I can attribute my my profession, or how I make money, which is
Hmm.
bartending, right? And
Yeah.
so
Hmm.
bartending has
Exactly.
taught me a lot how to deal with people, how to,
Exactly.
especially at the World Business Airport. So there's no
Hmm.
personality I can't deal with. There's
Exactly.
nobody, no gender I can't resonate with.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Because I understand human nature on a very
Exactly.
basic level.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And so once you
Hmm.
understand that, for 20 years I've been dealing with people,
Hmm.
at the World
Exactly.
Business Airport. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I
You
mean,
know,
what else? What else more can you say? You know what I'm
right?
saying?
And so my thing is people. So I know people. So I have developed a natural. I've always been that way. I've always loved people. So
Hmm.
and people feel that with me, right?
Hmm.
Because I have a natural love for people. Everybody start off. I don't care what color you are. Everybody start off at 100 with me,
Hmm. Yeah.
and then you work
Exactly.
your way down. You don't
Work your
have
way
to
down.
earn my trust. You know what I'm saying? You have to prove to me that you're untrustworthy,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
When I meet you,
Exactly.
you already got my trust.
Yeah. Yeah.
You see
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And a
Hmm.
lot of people look at it, they go, well, man, people got to earn trust. No, they don't. You know what I'm saying? When you
Hmm.
meet them, they got to show you who they are.
Hmm.
So everybody
Exactly.
start off at 100, and then based on how
You
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 are,
see
you
what you're
work your
dealing
way
with.
down. Right. You
We
know what I
see
mean?
you see what you're dealing with once they
Exactly. So I can see
present
what I
themselves
deal
to
with,
them.
and then make the necessary adjustments. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Exactly.
And
So
so,
y'all listen to this, man. This that knowledge you just spit, man. It'll it'll open your eyes and just dealing with individuals and humans, man. It's funny. I text this brother right here, what, a week or I think it was last week, about all this stuff and different other things me and him are gonna be doing in the future. But he's like, I think you were in Greece, right?
y'all in Greece, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Now, peep now, connect the dots here, y'all. Listen, you got a brother that works at the busiest airport, in America, one of the biggest in the world. You got a brother that travels as well, not just down to Florida, internationally. You know what I'm saying? You know, this is the way that you get exposed to real life and real life situations,
Hmm.
dealing with people and also traveling the world, man. You know what I'm saying? You got because it's not the same here. Once you go across those waters, man, I don't care where
No, it's
direction you
not.
go. It's not the same here. The people are different. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? That the cultures are different. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't things do not revolve around where you live in this whatever state you are in America. Far from it.
Yeah, exactly, man. Because America is a distorted reality, to say the
Hmm.
least.
Yeah.
Because of
Hmm.
how we view things. Because in a lot of ways we're pampered, we're fragile.
Hmm.
You can't say this, you can't say
Hmm.
that.
Hmm.
Man, all this PC stuff.
Hmm.
We're unorganized, we disconnected in a lot of ways. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? But
Hmm.
at the same time, the American people are resilient.
Yes, indeed.
We
Don't
have a
hate on them.
resilient, and
Don't
they
hate
do
on
come
Americans,
together
man.
when the times are right.
Hmm.
They do come together, man,
Yeah.
and especially during times of crisis. And
Hmm.
I saw it on a smaller level. Just working at the airport, like on snow days, for instance.
Yeah. Yeah.
The
Yeah.
snow
Yeah.
days and
Yeah.
people get snowed in, can't nobody fly out, man. All you do is seeing people help each other. Helping each other get through the night.
Hmm.
And all that stuff is ground zero happens at the bar.
Yeah.
Right? So you get a chance to see that, man, to really
I bet you they helping
understand.
some
So
drinks in
over
their mouth
20
too, right?
years, over the 20 years, what I realized, man, is that people are basically good, bro. You only
Hmm.
have a few, like Jim Rohn say, which is one of my favorite motivated speakers. Jim Rohn say, ain't nothing but 9 to 10, what I'm saying, nasty people in the world. They just happen to move
Hmm.
around a lot. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? So it's that energy, and you get a chance to deal with that, man. And that's what Soul Brothers is all about. Our job is inspiration, man. You know what I'm saying? That's our call to arms. Is to
You
inspire people
know,
to be the best version of themselves.
yeah, it's interesting to me, even you saying that as well. It's because, we all know that this is the age of the Aquarius. I had a post today on my thing when this Caucasian cat, man, it was on there, white dude named, his name was Mike Armstrong, right? You might have saw, if y'all watch the post, it's real dope because even the whole podcast is dope. It's just because people now in this day and time, I don't care what race, what gender, whatever case may be, people are being exposed to this energy of the age of Aquarius, and people are elevating. You know what I'm saying? Their
Mhm.
consciousness. So it might not have been as prevalent back in the 50s or going back in that time, but now with all this internet information, all this stuff is being exposed. You know what I'm saying? And these people, no matter what it is, they're gravitating to this elevation, this awakening. You know what I mean? It's a beautiful thing, man, because a lot of this, the conversations you might not have had back in the past, you can have it with a lot more people now because more people are getting hip to the information.
Hmm. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. And that's what it's
Hmm.
about, man. And we moving on that vibration, on that energy, because we know the
Hmm.
planet is moving into another part of the universe, if you will, or our
Yeah.
galaxy. You know what I mean? So we're moving into another part of our galaxy where we have to be more consciously aware of what's going on. Moving over into that sun cycle that we know, that you and I, of course, we know about. You know what
Hmm.
I mean? And so
Exactly.
now people are starting to resonate with that, man. And
Exactly.
those people that are stuck on that low vibratory rate, they're not going to be
Hmm.
able to make it. You
Yeah, they
know,
can't they can't move
because
forward.
no, they
Yep,
can't
you're
make,
right.
because you're not going to be able to adjust to what's happening. You know what I'm saying? And that's what's happening with the whole thing in the beer community, man. So I spent a lot of time talking about how we can right some of the wrongs in the
Hmm.
beer community, because we have a very, very unique position as African Americans and where we're
Hmm.
sitting in the beer community. So
Mm.
according to drinks.com, in 2018, craft beer was a $40 billion industry,
Mm.
right? See, they don't like to hear us talk that talk. If we twerking
Yeah.
and all that stuff like that, and we we,
Hmm.
we shucking and jiving and dancing and
Hmm.
singing and somewhere, what I'm saying, smoking weed and ain't disrespecting smoking weed now at all.
Hmm.
you know, but we somewhat doing that by not being productive, doing that and
Yeah.
not being productive. They okay with that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Meaning
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
okay, meaning those people that are systematically got things. And I'm not talking about your everyday white people that we deal with. I got too many white friends to deal with that, right? I'm not talking
Hmm.
about that. I'm talking about the
Hmm.
system that is in place that
Yeah.
has historically been oppressive to us,
Yeah.
especially the centralized financial system. That's
Yeah.
why I
White
harp so much on
supremacy.
that subject. You know what I mean? Because that's
Hmm.
at the core. That's at the core of the problem,
Yeah.
right? And so our
Hmm.
job is to. I don't want to digress. So back in 2018, craft beer was a $40 billion industry. By
Mm.
2025, according to drinks.com, it's going to be a $90 billion industry by 2025.
Get in where
See,
you fit in, right?
and this is the first time in American history, in modern history, that this many black people are moving over into the beer space in flocks and droves like this, right? From everything from ownership to mechanics, engineering, science, and sales, accounting, legal matters, lawyers. So everybody influencers. So it's so much different aspects of beer that we're all moving over here simultaneously, right?
Hmm.
And everything is centered, and beer is the axis. And so now we have an opportunity. I'm saying all that to say this: we have an opportunity because we're sitting where hip hop was when hip hop first started out in the '70s,
Mm. I
in
got
the
you.
late '70s. We're sitting there. We're sitting there. We have this huge opportunity to control our narrative that has been historically exploited and
Yeah.
used against us. right? And so
Hmm.
now we have a chance to come in and kind of seize this this moment in this rare space and time.
Okay. Now, this is a two-part question. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because I remember reading in the language, our language. When I saw the word beer, it was like by air, and I used to always hear about they always in ancient Kemet they were brewing beer and stuff like that, etc. Okay, could you kind of talk about the history of beer, dealing from a quote unquote African or melanated perspective in ancient days and even modern day, like in America, like were there brewers and could you kind of talk about both those?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you really shouldn't have one without the other, but due to European male arrogance, a black beer, white beer dichotomy was created.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, now let's deal with the history of it. The history of it
Hmm.
starts, now some will argue ancient China, right, when they was
Hmm.
talking about the rice beer. But
Hmm.
even if you go back now, the oldest Asians were were black. All right.
Yeah. Yeah. The whole
That,
planet
that,
was.
that's right.
Hmm.
Being insofar that we are indigenous to the planet, not to just one part of the planet.
Hmm.
Right. So let's clear the air. But the running theme or the most popular theme is that it comes from the Mesopotamia or the Fertile Crescent area,
Hmm. Samaria.
right? And it was founded by women or created by women.
Hmm.
And no one knows how long women brewed before men were allowed to brew in certain cultures. And then by the time it reached Europe, men just kind of like took it over,
Hmm.
right? Once it became industrialized. But prior
Oh,
to
okay.
that, it was a ancient sacred craft that was initiated to this planet by women, by the black woman. She was the first brewer on planet Earth,
Hmm.
were black women. That's why when you go back and look at the holy tablets, and Pop got that part in chapter 1 or maybe chapter 2, he said, "Don't be arrogant with your knowledge, because wisdom can be found amongst the women who kneel at the grindstone."
Mm.
You know what I mean? So that
Hmm.
grindstone is where they actually milk the grains and crack the grains open so they could make beer. And they
Mm.
would go on 2 or 3 or 4 day excursions to gather the necessary ingredients so they could make beer. And
Hmm.
at that grindstone, a lot of it, they gathered at the grindstone for a myriad of purposes. In some parts, a woman may have a daughter, right? And then now this is her coming of age. Now she's old enough to learn the practice of brewing. So now she get her first chops at the grindstone, right? Or it may be crisis in the tribe. Something may be going on. So women are coming together again and meet at the grindstone while they brewing beer and actually
Hmm.
milling the grain. And it could be for a celebratory reason. A woman could be pregnant. You
Hmm.
come and you gather at the grindstone, right? So
Yeah.
for all important activities and also just day to day brewing of the process, they brewing beer, women gathered at the grindstone. So
Hmm.
that's what it was for a myriad of reasons, right?
Hmm.
And so we have taken that away from them because its whole purpose for beer was a spiritual practice. It's always been sacred to us,
Hmm.
meaning that
Mm.
we approach it from the right side of the brain. Now, this is
Hmm.
no disrespect on what our Caucasian brothers and sisters have done with the beer since it left Africa, right?
Hmm.
Because they are a linear focused people, right?
Hmm.
So they focus on what they can see, taste, touch. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? And so they taught us a lot about the sciences of it. And
Hmm.
this, even though we knew a lot of the science, but we approached it different. We approached the
Hmm.
science from the right side of the brain as opposed to the left side. But now
Okay.
that we are moving up and we have, modern technology, you have to understand the left side of the brain when it comes to brewing beer and respect that process because it's needed. But what
Hmm.
happens in the craft beer space, a lot of people don't understand how important it is to approach it from the right side of the brain. They don't
Okay.
understand how important prayer is. They don't understand what prayer does when you they don't understand what it does to the yeast. And see, now I can't get off
Mm.
into that because now I can't divulge certain large information. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because this is part of the secret to our sauce.
Mm.
Is
Gotcha.
how we approach beer. Because for one, they're not looking at it as a living organism, and it is.
Hmm.
Right? And if you treat any living organism with love and respect, it responds better with the
Mm.
vibration of love versus fear or anger or anything
Like
else.
talking to a
You
plant,
know what
right?
I'm saying? Exactly, right. And they don't understand the power of water.
Mm-hmm.
Water actually can
Mm.
register our thought vibrations, and it can change on a molecular level. And you got this
Mm-hmm.
book called I think it's called The Power of Water, where his name is Emoto Osaru, right? And he wrote a book on what happens to the vibrations of water when you speak certain things, like you say
Mm.
things like the devil or I hate you and stuff like that. So what he
Mm.
does is they take a molecule of the water and they will freeze it, and then you can see it's in its crystallized state. You can see the distorted, different versions of, and I
Mm.
covered that on one of my posts. You know, what I'm saying a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see the distorted versions
Mm-hmm.
of the water and what it does when you speak or even think certain things that has an off vibration to anything. It doesn't respond well. And
Yeah.
so now moving on up, now you go and look, and I challenge this to anyone who drink craft beer, just look and see how many craft beer companies pay reverence to the devil or
Mm.
have that type of energy that's on there. You
I
know
see
what I'm
what you're
saying?
saying.
Like
I see
like
what
for
you're
instance,
saying.
you have companies that's called it's one beer called Devil's Hop Yard, right? You got another brewery called Devil's Backbone. Now think about that. Now we have to really think about that. The name of your brewery is the Devil's Backbone, and we can't do anything without our spine. So that means that you support the devil.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right?
And they and,
And they
and,
don't
and they have
understand how
a thought process even with the name and the whole, there's a meaning and symbolism. I'm sure the picture it looked crazy as hell too. I'm sure.
oh man, the symbolism is so heavy.
Yeah.
That's why our symbolism is just we just come from the other side to provide balance. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Symbolism.
Gotcha. You cut off. Yeah, you cut off. Let's see, which one did you cut off on?
Can you hear me
Sec-
now?
Okay, you good.
Yeah. Okay, my computer was going out a little bit. Sorry about that. But
No,
yeah,
you
man.
good.
But the symbolism in craft beer is thick, man. And
Mm-hmm.
one of the signs you're going to see is the triangle. You
Mm.
see a lot of triangles on craft beer too. And that goes back into ancient science that we introduced to them. You know what I mean? But they took the
Okay.
triangle and kind of uh, infused that with being devil worship. But it's
Oh,
anything
I
but.
got you. I
But it's
got you.
anything but because the triangle is 180 degrees and 1 plus 8 is 9, and we know 9 is divine. You know what I mean? But it's also made with an equilateral triangle. Is also made with 360-degree angles.
Mm-hmm.
You see, so that's
Yeah.
how they was
Yeah.
they was able to take that
Yeah.
and
I see
kind of
that.
flip the science on it and deal with the whole 666 garbage and all that stuff. Not
That's
to get too far,
interesting, man.
yeah,
That's
not to get off too
interesting.
far off the track, man. But you see it all day long, man. I'm talking about
Yeah.
you
Nah.
start looking at those craft beer, man. You're gonna see triangles everywhere on a
Everywhere.
myriad of different brands, bro. It's crazy. Like you can go like Trim Tab. They have the circle and the triangle. Edmonds Oaks. They also have the triangle and they got a triangle and the square actually. They use the triangle and the square. So it's
Yeah.
a bunch of
They
symbolism.
know. They
Yeah, they
know.
know.
They
Yeah, they
know.
know what's going on.
I
Right.
remember Doc was saying before he was like, he said he was pretty much saying, don't sleep on these people just because and these people that know Wicca and stuff like that. It's like these people are way more powerful and spiritual than the people in the churches because they know that the science behind stuff. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they do, man.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's crazy. I've even actually went inside of a lodge in a
Mm,
brewery
mm,
in the United States,
mm,
and I go down there and the dude is a 33-degree Mason.
mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? And so
Yeah,
this is just
yeah,
one brewery in one city,
yeah.
in one
Imagine,
state.
imagine. Yep, I got you.
Did you
I
see what I'm
got you.
saying? And
Mm-hmm.
so we have to understand the power of that and the power of symbolism, and we have to stop. That's why I'm so outspoken when it comes to things, especially in the craft beer space, because
Mm-hmm.
we have to be able to circumvent these type of energies that are being thrown at us, you
Yeah,
know, and
yeah,
especially when it comes
yeah.
to DEI, which is diversity, equity, and inclusion. You
Mm-hmm.
see, but we're still trying to fight the good fight within a system that's designed for us to lose.
Mm-hmm.
You see, and when I'm
Yeah,
talking about the financial system, man,
yeah,
in
yep.
2020, 0.6% of all venture capitalists, 0.6% of all the money that venture capitalists lent out were allocated to black founders. 0.6%.
Mm-hmm.
Now, with that kind of activity coming from a centralized banking system,
Mm,
and we over here, and craft beer was just on a hot seat
mm-hmm.
for lack of DEI,
Mm-hmm.
right? How can we close that gap
Mm-hmm.
if we have to fight for DEI and then at the end of the day have to still go back to these same financial institutions to get open? So now we expose ourselves to the unfair play.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? And
Same
and the
structure,
and
same
the
structure,
DEI
same
is a
situation.
twofold problem. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? Back to what we were saying, it's a twofold problem because it's a lack of people of color that even though, from our perspective on inside, we're like, man, there's black brewers everywhere because we know everybody,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
But to the industry, it's not enough to make enough noise as of right now to
Mm-hmm.
make it to where they can see that we have interest. Some people don't think that we're actually interested in beer. I just had this
Mm-hmm.
conversation with the top sales guy for Sierra Nevada. He runs the entire Southeast. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? And so I had a talk with him, and he was saying how and we was having candid conversation about DEI, right? And he was saying that they put out. First of all, he said, "Well, man, the beer industry looks like me." I'm saying? I'm an old white guy. He was
Mm-hmm.
very candid with it. He
Mm-hmm.
said, "But we have to work to change that." And then he
Yeah,
went on to say that how they was hiring, and they had something like 50 some odd applicants, but none of them were black.
yeah.
You
They
know
don't
what I
have a
mean?
clue.
And he was saying it's not that we won't hire them; it's just that they're not applying for the job because there's so few of them, or so few of us rather, that's in the space, even though it may seem like a lot here in Atlanta, but
I see what
Atlanta
you're saying. Yeah,
is
it's
a
different. It's different
is
in
a
Atlanta.
false it's a false reality, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying, of sorts. Because Atlanta is the epicenter. So we have more
yeah,
black breweries
yeah.
here than any other city in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Black breweries and black beer influence than any
Like
other city in
everything
the
in
world.
Atlanta.
Right. But even
Yeah.
though it's so rich here in Atlanta, but it's not rich on a global scale.
That's deep that you said that, man, because like the vast majority, even just going online, I remember I saw you, I remember saw another one called Consul Beer or something like that. I saw the only different black, quote unquote, black or Nubian, whatever you call it, beer company, all the stuff I've seen online, they were all in Atlanta. I didn't see I've never seen anything outside of that.
Yeah.
That's
I mean,
that's
it's a
really
lot of
interesting.
them,
Yeah,
but Atlanta just has the most.
the most, yeah.
Yeah, you
Hmm.
just have the most, man.
We
You
don't
got
see
to.
that though. You know what I'm
No, we
saying? We don't
don't.
see that. We don't
No,
see
we don't
that.
see it. You know what I'm saying? Because, and again, that happened a long time ago when, again, European male arrogance in the form of big beer presented beer a certain way to the American public, and everybody was victims in that, right?
Was
Whites and
was
blacks.
was there like how like the story when Tesla came with his Nikola Tesla came with his thing, and Thomas Edison was battling against him. Was there any that type of situation when like you know what I'm saying, when a certain group, a certain people just monopolize it just because of money. You know what I'm saying? Was that a part of the beer thing? Like I don't know, the Miller people or the Budweiser people that just came in and was like, we got a bunch of money, we just gonna take it over. Was that something that happened?
Absolutely, that's
Yeah.
exactly what happened.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? It's called greed, and so and they monopolize the industry, right? And they one part froze people out because again they
Hmm.
created through marketing they created a black beer white beer situation. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
What I mean by that. So when I first got into beer, I would go to certain breweries. Well, not even certain breweries. I don't want to say certain breweries because I would just go to different breweries, right? And the patrons, it never was. I never got treated nasty by any owners of any brewery that I ever been in. I want to be clear.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because I'm all about telling the story and telling and being as factual and as truthful as I possibly can because it's not about leaning one way or another. You know, I'm here to represent the truth. You know what I mean? Winston
Authentic.
Churchill say the truth is incontrovertible. Malice may
Hmm.
attack it, ignorance may deride it, but in the end, there it is. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? And so in the end, what happened was they created a white beer, black beer situation by marketing because we got the malt liquor, and so we got Ice Cube with St. Ives, and we
Yeah,
had
St.
Billy D.
Ives, Snoop
Williams
Dogg, and
with
Colt
Coke
45.
45, right, and Snoop Dogg. So those were all malt liquors, right? And that's
Hmm.
all that we saw.
Yeah, that's
You
true.
see, but on the same token, that when Coors had their campaign with Sam Elliott, they drinking the banquet beer or the champagne of beers,
Mm.
right?
Yeah,
Bob
yeah.
Euchre, with the Bud Light. I must be in the front row because
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
that's all who we saw representing beer when beer is just beer,
yeah.
right?
I see
And
what you're
so
saying.
years later, moving up on when I got into craft beer, because I started drinking, I've always been a guy that I always loved beer anyway.
Hmm.
you know. But I've always been that person that would try different beers because I was
Uh,
always fascinated by it. And my cousin kind of got me jump started in that because he worked in the service. My oldest cousin, he went to the military, and so when he come home from leave, he'd have all these different beers, and I come over his house to come visit him, and he would have all these bottles of beers lined up on his on the threshold where he
hmm.
had a ledge on the wall. So he have all these beers from all over the world, and I always thought that was fascinating.
Hmm.
So when I got of age, when I got 21 years old, man, became 21 years old, man, I stood in the liquor store and I was like, man, I want to try every beer in the world. You know what I mean? So not knowing that, because I didn't get serious about beer time, until I was in my 40s. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, wow, not knowing that it was already in me then at 21 years old. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And so now we have an opportunity. So now moving on up into the mid '90s, I'm drinking the beer, and I bring some beer over something like a St. Pauli girl or a Bex, something like that. And my friend, first
Hmm.
thing my friend say is, "Why are you drinking that white folks beer?"
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? Why you drinking the white boy beer? Where the OE at, man? What a 445? I'm like,
Hmm.
wow. Well, I thought it was just beer.
Programming, boy.
It's
Programming.
programming is something else, man. And then
Hmm.
by the same token, you go into a brewery and you will see the white patrons look at you like, "What are you doing here?"
Why are you drinking that? When
Right?
when
You
I
don't
lived
believe,
in,
you know what I mean? And so it created a problem, man. And so
yeah.
now, because of that situation, was created through big beer and mass media and
Hmm.
marketing,
Yeah.
right? Now moving up now, and now the craft beer community or the industry is catching the flack of that. But
Yeah.
see, the
I
thing
see.
about craft
I can see
beer
that.
is what makes it so dope is the fact that craft beer, the very nature of craft beer was built on camaraderie,
Mm.
meaning that you didn't see you don't see all we saw was Miller Lite, Anheuser Busch,
Yeah. The big
Coors,
ones.
like they're going at each other. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? For okay, everyone's going at each other, talking about this beer is not mine, it's better than yours, yada yada yada.
Hmm.
It wasn't a healthy form of competition that was
Mm.
presented in the marketplace.
Yeah.
It was, what I'm saying, dog eat dog world.
Yeah.
You know what I
Top
mean? But
Tesla
craft beer
versus
came
Edison.
along, and it's okay for us to be in the fighting for the same shelf space. But I can call my local brewery, white or black, want somebody that's in the industry. Hey, yo, I need some grain, just so I can get this
Hmm.
beer brew. I'm gonna get this beer
I
brew,
see what you're
and
saying. I see what you're
they
saying.
will let you hold
It's
the
like a
grain. And get them.
fraternity,
Yeah, it's
right?
like a frat. You
Yeah.
see what I'm saying? And so that camaraderie was started
Hmm.
long before blacks entered into the space.
Mm.
You
I
see what I'm
got
saying?
you.
So that's why you got to give craft beers its props
Yeah.
because it was designed for what beer. is designed to do.
What's supposed to do?
And it's designed to bring people together.
I got you.
You know what I mean?
So
And of course, we got our problems and things of that nature, man. But for the most part, though, we're a very sticky industry, and that's what I love about it.
I well, I told you like earlier before we jumped on, I was looking at the picture when I made the thumbnail, and I saw that it said liquid melanin. I thought that was so interesting. You know what I'm saying? When I saw it, so what's the concept behind that? Like, what is it? You know, because I saw it. I see this. That beer is a darker beer, right?
Right.
Yeah. It's. I guess I'm assuming that's for specific reasons. But you know what? Yeah. Why the name liquid melanin?
So because we want to lead with our blackness, for lack of better words,
Okay.
right? Because we, like James Brown said, we black and we proud.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because our white counterparts do that all the time.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Because we also live into this. We black people need, especially in beer, you need something that's clearly identifiable with to you.
Mhm. Yeah.
Because when you go look at let's use St. Pauli girl again, right?
Mhm.
You know, if I'm a white female and I go look and I see her on the bottle, then I'm gonna
Gravitate
I'm
towards
gonna
it.
gravitate towards that. That's
Yeah.
human nature. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
kind gonna gravitate towards like kind,
Mhm.
right? And I
Yeah.
use
Yeah.
liquid
Yeah.
melanin because I want y'all to know
Where it's coming
it,
from? I got you.
it was brewed by black folk. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Ain't no doubt about it. When you look at the can and you seeing,
You see
yeah,
it?
it's brewed by black people. You look at
That's a
that two
dope
and a
can
half,
too.
you're gonna know that it's brewed by black people. Just
Yeah.
like I look at something in any other brewery, I can know that it's brewed by white
Yeah.
people.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know what I'm
It's
saying?
true. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah. Yeah.
okay to identify with your culture. There's nothing
Mhm.
wrong with that. You know what I
I
mean?
agree.
But
I
we're
agree.
made to feel like people won't buy it
Yeah.
or people won't gravitate toward that concept. You know what I mean? I got so much flack from my family, man, when I was doing soul. When I first said the name Soul Brother, I I used to just laugh, man. I'm like, y'all don't get it. Y'all don't get it. I say, but you'll get it because my
Yeah.
auntie, man, and God rest her soul, she passed away. But when she said, I'm just gonna be honest with you, because my auntie was always a straight shooter. She said, I'm just gonna be honest with you. I don't like that name. I was like, because I had some problems, some litigation problem with ATL, man. I don't want to go
Mhm.
off into that, but another brewery, put ATL on the market, and I was told by one of my mentors, L. Sharpton, which is a trusted the world's most powerful beer influencer,
Mhm.
period, hands down. He's one of the guys that I actually look up to in this business. But he told me, yo, man, fam, you might want to change your name. And
Mhm.
I already had Soul Brother tucked away in the pocket anyway. But I knew Atlanta, the climate in America or Atlanta wasn't ready for a concept like Soul Brother,
Mm.
right? And so I went with something that was more culturally ambiguous, which was ATL. Everybody can
Mhm.
identify with it. It's a play on
Mhm.
words,
Mhm.
ATALE. We in
Mhm.
Atlanta. Oh, it's so
Mhm.
fun, right? You know what I mean? And so I was working with some more guys, not my current business partner. And my original plan was to, blow ATL up and then sell my parts off and then do Soul Brother. Because
Mhm.
now I got the money, the notoriety of making good beer, and so it would have
Mhm.
been easier to transition into that space.
That's what you're
But the
saying.
elders had a different plan for me.
Mhm. That's what's up.
The elders made it to where, okay, a company going to come in and take the name, so you can't use the name. Then I got trusted people in the industry telling me you need to change the name, but I still held on. So, you
Mhm.
know what I mean? I didn't
Mhm.
want to let it go. But then I finally said, you know what, man? George Floyd happened. A lot of things happen in society, man. But you know what, man? The climate, the people are ready.
Yeah.
People
Yeah.
are
They
ready
ready.
for a concept
Yeah.
like Soul Brother. So, and then that, but what tripped me out, man, is that I got flack from my family who are black, but I got people outside from the other side of the fence, asking. I remember when I was at a store and I had my Soul Brother shirt on, and a white girl come up to me. She said, "Oh, I love beer. I love your name." She said, "But can I ask you a question?" I said, "Yeah." She said, "Can I be a Soul Brother too?" And I was like, "You got a soul, don't you?" She said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, there you go."
You so you didn't do like Malcolm did in the movie, right? When the girl walked up to him, she
Nah,
said
nah,
that.
nah, nah, nah. I ain't do that, man. I'm not in the business I'm not in the business of doing that, man. Like you
Yeah,
saying, it's
yeah,
good
shutting them
energy.
down.
It's good energy, man. And then sometimes,
Yeah,
you wear the brand, man, and you may get some scoff from people that have the lower vibration. You get a little people that turn their nose
yeah,
up at
yeah,
it,
yeah.
and they'll look at you kind of funny or whatever. And I'm like, wow, I wonder
Hmm.
what
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
thinking
yeah, yeah.
right
What
now.
they?
But for
Yeah,
the most part, man, people love the name, bro. They love the concept. They love our approach because again, we're not in the beer business. We're
hmm,
in the people business.
yeah, yeah,
You know what I mean? And so our goal is to resonate with our customer base and extend our olive branch further
yeah.
than any other brewery in the world.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And we do that with our purpose, and our purpose is inspiration.
Yeah,
Because we understand where we are in space and time. The climate is different. And so
yeah.
people need to be inspired. Just think about what we just came off of. I mean, we just came off the heel of the biggest pandemic the modern man has seen. We got
Hmm.
pump fake. They pump faked us with the SARS. They pump faked us
Yeah,
with
yeah,
the Ebola. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah,
They
yeah,
pump faked
yeah.
us with a lot of other stuff. The West Nile. You know what I'm saying? The
Hmm.
bird flu. So
Hmm.
we just
Swine
we just
flu.
thought COVID was another thing. Okay, yeah, I done heard it before. Yada yada yada. This time things got shut down.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yep,
This time people started seeing family members die.
yeah. It's true.
And this all across the board. This black, white, old, young,
Everybody.
gay,
Yep.
straight, atheist, Catholic, Christian. Everybody got affected by this, right?
Hmm.
And so now it gave us a chance to do what we're supposed to do, and that's bring people together, man. Because people's up
Hmm.
under a tremendous amount of stress. And
Hmm.
so our job is to bring people together. So people need hope, man. And so that's why we charge we move with that whole thing of to inspire inspiration. Because we want people to we our goal is to inspire people to be the best version of themselves. Because we
I,
need help.
mhm. I think
Help.
it's good. I think it's very admirable and good just to the fact that you're educating, even just now with the history, even not only ancient history, but also just the modern day history that people might not even know, because it's just it's been monopolized and just one sided of just all you see and you turn on, you see, like you said, Coors Light, all these different things. Most of them don't even think about there's a whole different backstory behind beer, not only mainstream beer, but even you know the whole beer industry, that there's a backstory behind it. You know, unless you know that, I had no clue until you told me this. You know what I'm saying? So it's very admirable the fact that you are educating people, you're doing what you're doing, man, and kudos to you. You know what I'm saying? And may the elders shine on you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man, I really appreciate it, bro. And this is the divine mission that we're on. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
now I'm coming
I
to the
agree.
point where it's starting to meet itself.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And
Hmm.
because that's how we know we're on the right track and
Exactly.
doing what we're supposed to be doing, man.
Exactly.
And that and
You're
that and
leading
that
by example. You're leading
that's
by
it.
example. No,
That's it.
seriously, because you're leading by example because you are showing the world how people, should really be thinking. You know what I'm saying? How not thinking, but like pushing on thoughts, but how people are able to get along once they put down all the stuff that the propaganda have put against everybody separating and all the, trying to hate each other, all this kind of crazy stuff. And like you said, putting that olive branch out there, because this, regardless what you think, this world would be a way better if people were able to get along better. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Regardless, I don't care what anybody says. You know what I'm saying?
That's
You
it.
know,
You
yeah,
know, that's it, man. And it doesn't have to be at the expense of your fellow man. And that's the
yeah,
problem that
exactly.
our
Hmm.
Caucasian brothers and sisters need to learn.
Yeah, that's what they
You
gotta
know
learn.
what
Yep.
I'm saying? That it doesn't have to be at the expense of the next man in order for you to survive. It doesn't have to be that way.
Yeah, it doesn't have to
You know
be.
what I'm saying? And just like Pop used to use the analogy, you know what I'm saying, the dandelion and the rose. You
Hmm.
know what I'm saying? Like the dandelion, it was a different way, but I say this all the time. The dandelion cares not about the well-being of the rose,
Hmm.
but they still come together to make a beautiful garden or yard.
Yeah, exactly.
You see what I'm saying? But the
Hmm.
rose, getting too much sunlight, dandelion don't care.
Yeah,
I'm a
yeah.
dandelion.
Them dandelions. You're gonna deal with it
When I
differently.
release spores, I release spores to produce more dandelion.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
But the
Yep.
problem is that white America is coming and put through shade and say we want all the sunlight. We want
Hmm.
us to grow. And
Hmm.
that's how they did it. That's how they did in the beer space. You know,
Hmm.
and they did that amongst themselves too, because
Yeah.
that's how beer left the control of women. You know, and
Mm-mm.
some would say, in some circles they would say, this whole ideology, which I'm about to explain, some would say that jump started the whole Salem witch trial.
Hmm.
You see, because women, now you're talking about going back over into the what 1100s, maybe, when as far back I can find my research, but they go back further than that. But anyway, women would travel from the countryside and they would meet up in the local marketplace in town. And back then they were called brewsters. And
Mm.
what they would do, they would wear these black hats with a point on the top, right? The
Mm.
witches hat. They
Like the
would wear
witches.
these black
Yeah.
hats so they could be identified amongst the crowd.
Mm.
So when you saw those black hats walking around the marketplace, you knew that the Brewster was there. And now you can
Mm.
go get you some beer. And this was before hops.
Oh
They was using a
wow.
variety of herbs to it was called group back then. You know, and but they was using a variety of
Called
herbs
what?
as grouped, like I am grouped,
Yeah, I'm
like
about to
from
say that's what I thought you
yeah,
said.
yeah. It was called group back then. But it's spelled GRUIT, like fruit with a G, you know. But it was called group, and it was a variety of herbs that gave its bittering uh, components, like the hops, you know, because the hops is a natural
Hmm.
preservative. But before
Hmm.
hops were quote unquote discovered, they used a variety of herbs to do the same thing. And they
Mm.
would brew the beer in a cauldron. That's where your cauldron came from.
Ah. So you mean to tell me all them shows that they talking about when they try to show the witch with the pointed hat, the black dress, and the pointed nose, she's sitting there making ripple.
Right, right. She's making a fermented beverage,
She's
right?
making some
You
beer,
know,
yeah, yeah, a plush beverage.
and they because they called them witches and stuff like that because they had vast knowledge of healing
Yeah,
properties of the
the
herbs.
herbs,
They were
yeah, the
able to
herbs.
heal people, and they
Yeah,
were
that makes sense.
called witches. Then the flying broom came from because they kept the broom suspended above the threshold of the brew house, and they used the broom to keep the brew house clean. But the flying brew come because it was elevated above the brew house on the threshold. The black cat come from they kept the cat around because the cat chased away the
The
varmints because the
mice.
varmints like to come in and eat your grain and all that stuff. You see what I'm saying?
Makes perfect sense.
And so they created this whole thing. They're witches because
Hmm.
men started to understand how once beer became industrialized,
Yeah.
men started to come in and take over. You know.
Okay.
And to this day,
Same
you know, and
same
that was done
story.
from, you know, by white men. You know, they
Yeah.
are to blame. You know, you just have
Hmm.
to put it out there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, like I said, same
that's what
story.
happened. You
Same
know, it's a
story,
sad story.
different same story over and over again, just a different topic, different, you know what I'm saying? Just
Right.
you can go through the whole list of,
So it's not a color thing; it's a power thing. It's a
power
power
thing.
tip
Yeah.
thing. It's not. It has nothing to do with color whatsoever. It was a power thing. We know we understand the importance of this. We can make some money off of it. It's not been industrialized. We're about to push you out the way. You know,
I
so the
heard
women didn't
something.
get their props, nor did
Hmm.
black people get their props. Right? You have to learn about their involvement in books and when it should have been shared the whole time.
I heard I'm not sure, you might know about this more, but I heard that back in the day that they because of the water wasn't really that fresh, that something like that, how beer was even a type of, they used it maybe as astringent, or they made it some way because it was, I'm trying to remember what it was exactly, but beer was used as a drink because it was more, I guess, cleaner, some of the dirty water. Is
Yeah,
that
yeah, actually, it
yeah.
was it was more purified because
Hmm.
you have to boil the water and you know what I'm saying, things of that nature. So it was less harmful because the water wasn't fit
Oh,
for consumption by itself.
I
So
got you. Okay.
under that
Okay.
brewing process, once you boil it and things of that nature, it made it. And
Ah,
these were low alcohol beer. They were called
I
table
better
beer.
say it's probably a lower.
Very
Yeah,
low
yeah.
percentage. You're talking about 2.5, you know, 3% or even lower than that, you know, because
Okay.
the kids would drink it too, you know.
Gotcha.
And again, it was not to get drunk; it was because the water in the surrounding area was so bad because of
Yeah,
the lack of technology to clean the
gotcha.
water up. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? So yeah, that is true in certain
that makes sense.
in a
That
lot
makes
of
a lot of
remote
sense,
areas.
actually.
Yeah, it's very true. You know,
Yeah, that
that's a
makes a
true
lot of
story.
sense.
You know,
So, Man, you look. I had all these questions, but like it's dope because like you covered all of them because you're being very thorough with your answers. Now, I'm gonna kind of go a different route now.
Okay.
You kind of touched on this earlier, and I'm doing it for a specific reason. You know what I mean? Traveling. I'm gonna talk about traveling the world, traveling. All the different places. You know, I'm gonna say this real quick. When I lived in London, I got introduced to so many different beers, man. I remember one of my fella favorite beers over there was a Stella. What's it? What's the Stella? What? How do you pronounce it?
Stella Artois.
Artois. Yeah, yeah. So I'm over there sitting. I'm drinking all these German beers and all these French beers and all these Swedish, all these different things, whatever. And I'm just, and I ain't gonna front being from Richmond, Virginia at the time. I was drinking malt liquor, you know what I'm saying, listening to Wu Tang and stuff, you know what I'm saying? So, real talk, you know what I'm saying? So, and I'm sitting there drinking what was it? Ice 800. I still remember that to the day, man. Ice 800. Oh my God, man, this stuff looked like goddamn, motor oil. But anyway, I went over there and tasted these different beers, and it blew my mind because I was just like, yo, I didn't know that beer could taste good. You know what I'm saying? Like it could actually taste good. But
Mhm.
moving forward, traveling, man. What type of experience did you have dealing with the beer, like tasting different beers, different breweries, and different? Is that something that you did, like kind of traveled and experienced how new beers were made and stuff like that?
Well, no, man, not really. That's not how I did it. Actually, I tasted them.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I tasted them and read up on them, man. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But I did. I've been to Costa Rica. I've been to Greece. I've been to Canada.
Mm-hmm.
And so just to go over there, specifically Costa Rica, it's a lot of light beers over there.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
a lot of
Yeah.
light beers over there. And I was lucky to find an IPA, and I grabbed every one I could get. You know what I mean?
I bet.
They do a lot of light beer, a light, crispy, approachable beers, more or less pilsners, like in the pilsner
Yeah.
family.
Pilsners.
You
Yeah.
know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
So, and the same thing it was in Greece, but I ran across a craft beer, a brewery on the island of Santorini. It was Santorini Brewing, and they had some unfermented beers, double IPAs, all kind of stuff like that. And it tastes really good, man. So, but for the most part, though, I just started learning. Working at Taco Mac, I bartended at Taco Mac, man, and big shout out to Taco Mac because they opened up my beer knowledge, tremendously just by being able to taste it. So I had so many beers that was all over the world, man. I had a chance to taste so many different beers by working there. You know what I mean, from America and abroad. And so learning the style and then learning the history behind it and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
So but I do want to continue my travels to go over there and to go different places and really try the beer. It's nothing like being there, live in the color. It's
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
same as
Yeah.
getting a bottle of beer that's been shipped over here,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
God knows what happening along the way. You know
I
what I mean?
noticed that. I noticed that just in my experience, how everything was tastes completely different over there than it did opposed to here, and very noticeable difference. You know what I'm saying? If you drink beer, very noticeable. Even like for example, Heineken. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? From being here as opposed to there. So
Oh,
man,
okay. Yeah, my bad.
no, you
I'm trying
good.
to get my business partner to drink another beer with me. He talking about, I gotta go to work. I gotta go to work.
Hey man, that's dope, man.
Yeah, man. But I love the industry, man, and there's a lot of it's a lot of upside on in the industry, man. There's a lot of opportunity for change,
Hmm.
and I do like the fact that you have a lot of breweries that are putting some skin in the game and rolling their sleeves up, and they're trying to
Mm.
understand where the problem comes from. You know what I'm saying? And so it's a twofold though. So
It,
you know, we have to develop the posture, I think, enough to not to always expect somebody to do something for us. You know
yeah,
what I'm saying? And at the same time, the other side of the fence, they need to be a little bit more open to extend their olive branch. You
Yeah,
know,
I
and
see what you're
don't
saying.
don't be so blind to the fact of what's going on. You know what I mean? And that's easy to do, man. Even us, man. Like
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know what it's like to be hungry. You know, I may
Mm-hmm.
see a starving kid, you know, on the commercial, but I really don't know what that's like. You know, I'm still somewhat disconnected because it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
hit me up close and personal. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I
I
think
got you.
that's part of the problem too. You know, it's just that it's just not up close and personal to white America in the
Yeah.
beer space. You see what I'm saying?
So no, I got you. All right. So is it the type of situation? Let's say like, and tell me if I'm wrong. I'm just kind of visualizing how an industry might work. Okay. Let's say um, you have your beer, right? And then it gets more volume, more people want it. Is it the type of situation like when a bigger company be like, "Oh man, I like what you're doing. We can mass produce it." Is that how it works? Kind of like, or how
Well,
like
yes,
what's the
and yes and no. It does
okay.
work that way because you can do it where you could have a contract situation, right? You know what I mean?
Mm,
Because you could. There are brewers that have up and running business, and then they will contract or work out a deal with a brewery that can maintain more volume. You know what I'm saying?
okay.
So so
Because they
so
have
yeah,
the actual plant or they have the production resource that can make it.
right,
Yeah.
exactly. You know what I mean? So they'll do it like that. But in the case like that though, they will definitely be working with the brewery to maintain its own integrity, especially if it's a brewery that's up and running. Now you have
Gotcha.
another faction of
Gotcha.
it. You have breweries that are now entering into the space because it costs a lot of money to open up a brewery. You
Mm-hmm.
know, on average, it costs anywhere from $500,000 to $1.5 million to open up a
mm,
small microbrewery, right?
gotcha.
Because and the bulk of that cost is going to be in equipment.
Mm,
You know, so that being the case, a lot of brewers who don't have the money, they would do what is called contract brewing, meaning
ah,
that I will come to you like that, Zosa, and that all depends on if your business model is set up to contract brew because I can't come to let's say I can't come to Creature Conference and ask them to contract brew because they're too busy.
yeah, yeah. They got
You
too
know
much
what I'm saying?
stuff going
Their
on. Yeah.
ferment is always full, so most of the time people breweries that offer contract brewing, they're not moving as much volume, so they have to circumvent that by allowing other concepts to come in and they will rent out their space, their
Gotcha.
equipment, for lack of better
Gotcha.
words.
And they
And
still
they will
making
act
money because you got to pay them to produce it. So I
right. You
see.
know what I
Yeah,
mean.
yeah.
And so you would pay them to produce it, but the danger about that is that it gives us on one instance, it gives us notoriety in the public. So now you can go to restaurants and bars and things of that
Mm-hmm.
nature because you can
Mm-hmm.
kind of piggyback on their distribution deal for sorts,
Gotcha.
right? But by the same token, you can get caught on the hamster wheel because you have to
Mm.
pay so much money coming out. So you have very little money to
I
save, so
see.
you can get that 1.5 to 500,000 to
I
$1.5 million
see
that
what you're
you need.
saying.
So
Do
that's
it
the
yourself.
danger of it. So
Gotcha.
we want to.
Gotcha.
So we was going to approach it to where we would just be selling directly from our tap room. Because that's where our highest margin of sales are. It's in the
Gotcha.
tap. You know what
Gotcha.
I mean?
So they come to
But
you.
yeah, exactly. So they come to
Yeah.
us, and that way
Yeah.
we can reap all the benefits. But we in the situation now where we may have to contract because we got a sweet distribution opportunity that we just can't pass up. Can't speak too much on it
Yeah.
because it's
Yeah.
still in the
Yeah.
incubation stage, but it's gonna make us look a whole lot bigger.
That's funny, man, because it's like it or like a parallel parallel not universe, but parallel products. Like we were talking about last night, we had a podcast talking about music, and one of the brothers was like, you know, it's difference between when you just have an album as opposed to when you get that album and you hit the road and you tour and new people are able to see your live act. It's the same thing
Mhm.
with the beer. Like it's a lot
Yep.
different than you just having a tap house, but now you can take that take that brew and be like, all right, now this is going to Chicago, this is going to New York. You know what I'm saying? Now it's getting overwhere. So I understand that. That makes sense.
Yeah, and again, that's still good and bad because the further away you move from your home base, the tougher it is going to be for you. The tougher it is it's going to be for you to survive in the craft beer space. So
Mm,
so so, so that whole dichotomy, that's old school. Because the
I
very
see.
nature of it. Now, don't get me wrong, distribution is a moneymaker, but the nature of craft beer is hyper local because of how the craft beer customer is. You have to know your customer, and
Got you.
what the craft beer customer is, they take ownership in the breweries that they like, of sorts. They
Got
really
you.
feel like it's theirs. Like when
Yeah.
Wicked Weed made that deal with Budweiser,
Mm.
and I don't blame them. That was a what 400 $500 million deal.
Mm.
You know what I mean? But so they hurry up and say, okay,
Don't
man,
blame
you
me
got
either.
the key. So when Anheuser-Busch bought them out, I mean, man, it was extreme backlash. People throwing the beer away. I never drink it again. You sold
Oh
out. You hurt
man.
my
Oh,
feelings.
sell out.
You know what I mean? Yeah, man. So people, craft beer drinkers, take a sense of ownership
I see what you're saying. That's
with
the
their,
independent. That's the underground.
yeah.
The craft
What I'm
beer is
saying?
the
It's all about,
underground.
the middle finger to the system.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know what I mean? Sort of, kind of.
yeah,
And
yeah,
so when the people I understand is the beer is hyper local. So people like to
hmm
go to their local brewery and again have camaraderie and to feel like
yeah.
they know they brewmaster and feel like they at home. You know
I
what I'm saying?
got you. That
You know
makes
what I
sense.
mean?
That makes sense. That's like yeah, like seeing it's a little bit different seeing Outkast at home as opposed to seeing him in California.
Right, right.
You see him at the you see him at the at the masquerade. You know what I'm saying? You got a little bit more pride than seeing him at the Civic Arena somewhere across the country. Yeah,
Hmm.
that's interesting, man. Dang, man, you done schooled me, bro. I ain't gonna front. I ain't know I was gonna learn all this tonight, but I should have known talking to you.
Hey man,
I should have
I'm
known.
just a dude that love this thing, man. I love this
Yeah,
beer with all
man.
my heart, man. I love beer. I love people, and I just feel like, bro, we got a shot. We got a shot at being great in this space, man. And craft
Yeah,
beer is only
yeah.
gonna it's still fairly new to the African American community, and it's only gonna be new to us one time. You
Well,
know,
if there's
it's not gonna be new
anybody
2 years from now, 5 years from now.
if there's anybody that should be leading the charge, it's definitely you, man. The universe gave you all of the attributes to make this happen. Knowledge, wisdom, charisma, and what I'm saying all the good stuff, man. You got all the makings to really push this where it needs to go, man. And sincerity. I have to say that sincerity. Ever since I know you, always been a very sincere and humble brother. You know what I'm saying? A lot of good energy, good vibes, man. So like again, kudos to you and your partner, man. Already know. I'm gonna have to start. I'm gonna have to do a commercial for you
Oh man, I
going
would
forward.
love that, man. Sure, I would love that, man. You wicked with the camera, man. Come on, bro.
Yeah,
We need help that way too, man. So
you know,
shoot, well, I would
I'm
love
gonna,
it, man.
I'm
And
gonna
shout out
support you,
again to
man.
my two business partners, man. Shout out to Marty Honore. Shout out to Q Hart, man, and just the rest of the Soul Brother team, meaning our wives and the ladies
Yeah,
that's in our lives, man. I mean, we couldn't
yeah.
do it without them, bro. We're a big family, and everything is just working itself out, man. And we just here
What?
to make the best beer we possibly
Yeah,
can, bro. To be the best people we possibly can,
that's
and
it.
we are asking people to do the same thing because you got something that you're innately good at. You got God given gifts and spiritual gifts that I need. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
But if you got them bottled up because you're too scared to go for it,
Yeah,
then hell,
you
how
ain't
can I
helping
learn?
nobody. You ain't helping
I
nobody.
can't get better than that, man. So yeah,
Yeah,
get off the sideline. Get your ass
that's it.
up.
Yeah, yeah,
Go.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I've seen that before. I'm always right behind that. I press the heart button every single time I see that. I
So that's
said,
what that's all
looking
about,
for it.
man. Get up,
Yeah,
man. Get off the sidelines of life, bro, and
do
give
it,
us the
man.
best you got, man. Because we
Do
need
it,
it out here,
man.
man. You give us the best
Do
you
it.
got, because I'm showing up giving y'all the best I got, bro.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
So long after I'm gone, y'all gonna see the priesthood gonna be here a long time,
Well,
long time.
we gonna see. And from what we me and Corey, we got some things working. We got some things already working. So y'all might be seeing some in the future you might see some collaborations. So y'all just stay tuned. we already
But I got to
we
get out
already
of here, man. So
yeah.
I gotta cut this. I don't know if I'm cutting this short or not, but I got to
No, no, no.
go.
You good,
But
man. We good, man.
yeah,
Do your thing, man. What I'm saying. Follow Corey. You know what I'm saying. Please share, follow, like us. Polka Dot Rabbit podcast. We out of here, man. So
I mean, we out
do
here,
your
man.
thing.
Peace, y'all.
All right.
Hey,
Peace
drink
and love.
dope beer. Be nice and do the best you can.
That's it, man. Y'all heard it here. Polka Dot Rabbit podcast. So, what's the name again? One more time, so we get it right.
What's that?
The name.
Soul Brothers.
Soul Brothers. There you go. There you go.
That's
Soul
it.
Brothers. All right. Y'all be y'all
Soul
be good.
Brothers.
Peace and love.
Peace and love, man. I'm out.
All right.